In the quiet town of Willow Creek, Montana, population 3,482, people still left their doors unlocked and waved at passing cars like everyone was family. The kind of town where the grocery store cashier remembered your birthday and the sheriff still made house calls just to check on widows and war vets. It was a place where nothing ever really happened, until it did. On the morning of October 14th, 2019, something shifted. Not with a bang, not with a scream, but with a silence so sharp it would slice through the town's sleepy routine like a scalpel. Emily Grant, age 33, a nurse at Willow Creek General Hospital, did not show up for her 7 a.m. shift. At first, it was brushed off. Her supervisor, Carla Riggs, made a casual joke about flu season. "She's probably curled up under a blanket with tea and NyQuil," Carla said, tapping her clipboard. Her best friend, Paige Lindell, texted her around 7:40 a.m. when she noticed Emily hadn't opened their daily good morning snap streak. Nothing. She tried again at 8:30. Still nothing. She called at 9:15, then again at 10. Each ring dragged on like a bad omen. By noon, Paige's calls weren't casual anymore. She wasn't the only one. Emily's mother, Margaret, left 2 voicemails. A neighbor, Mr. Cartwright, noticed her car was still parked in the same spot it had been the night before. Tires straight, the windshield covered in morning dew. By 3 p.m., the hospital had tried calling her emergency contact, Paige. By 5 o'clock, Paige was pounding on Emily's door. No answer. By 6:15, a report had been filed. By 7:30, the sun dipped behind the pine-covered hills that hugged the town, and panic spread like wildfire. Emily Grant was missing. Emily's duplex sat on the eastern edge of town, near a small creek that fed into the lake. It was tidy, lined with potted mums and a faded welcome mat that read, "Just breathe." Her car was there, a dark blue Honda Civic, doors locked, parked neatly. Her keys and wallet were still inside the house. Her phone, still plugged in beside the nightstand. The bed, made, not slept in. There were no signs of struggle, no broken windows, no scuff marks, no blood, just absence. An eerie, meticulous absence. Sheriff Ray Halpern arrived just after dark. He was 60, with weathered eyes and a voice that rarely rose above a whisper. A Vietnam vet turned lawman, Halpern was a man who'd seen death and war, but nothing prepared him for the gnawing quiet inside Emily's home. He walked through the duplex slowly, his boots echoing against hardwood floors. The air smelled faintly of lavender. A mug of half-drunk chamomile tea sat on the kitchen counter, a single spoon in the sink. Everything about the scene whispered normalcy, except her. The next morning, October 15th, the Willow Creek Police Department declared Emily Grant officially missing. Flyers were printed by noon. Volunteer groups formed. Helicopters from Missoula were called in. Search parties combed through hiking trails, creek beds, and the outskirts of Glacier Lake. Dogs sniffed. Drones scanned. Even teenagers skipped school to help. The entire town was now one massive search grid. The mayor, Linda Greeley, gave a press statement on the courthouse steps. Her voice cracked mid-sentence. "We will not stop until we bring Emily home." But by day 3, the optimism started to fade. At Willow Creek General Hospital, the atmosphere soured. Emily had been one of them. Dedicated, calm under pressure, a go-to nurse for the ICU, known especially for how gently she treated the elderly. Her patients adored her. Her co-workers respected her. No enemies, no complaints. So why did she vanish? Paige couldn't stop shaking. She was there the day investigators arrived at the hospital asking about Emily's last few shifts. Her hands trembled so hard she spilled coffee on her scrubs. They interviewed everyone, doctors, janitors, volunteers. One name kept coming up, Tara Whitman, a nurse, late 30s, efficient, cold, smiled too quickly when asked about Emily. "I didn't even know her that well," she said, fidgeting. "We weren't close." But Paige knew better. Everyone in the hospital did. Emily and Tara had worked side by side for nearly 3 years. Same floor, same rotation. and over the past few months the tension between them had been palpable. It was only when detectives checked Emily's phone records that the story began to splinter. A string of private messages, a second Instagram account locked and separate from her public one, a dating profile under a pseudonym, Knight Florence 33. In one contact that raised eyebrows immediately, Logan Myers, respected, married father of two, a firefighter. He admitted the affair after hours of questioning, said it had been brief, a mistake, and long over. Claimed they hadn't spoken in weeks. His alibi checked out. He was on shift the night she disappeared, confirmed by his firehouse captain and time-stamped records. But something in his voice didn't sit right. "I still care about her," Logan said, eyes down, "but I swear, I had nothing to do with this." The town whispered. Small towns always do. And behind the whispering, suspicion festered. By the time the weekend rolled in, Willow Creek felt like it had aged a decade. The cafes were quiet. The church prayer boards were filled with handwritten notes. And the town's bulletin boards, once used for bake sales and lost dog posters, now bore only one face, Emily Grant's. But what the town didn't know, what even the sheriff hadn't realized yet, was that the key to the entire mystery was sitting right under their noses. Or rather, taped to a front porch a few houses away. The doorbell camera belonged to Roger and Denise Callahan, retired teachers who had recently installed a security system after their garden gnomes were stolen. When officers did the initial neighborhood sweep, they reviewed the footage, saw nothing unusual, and moved on. But 4 days later, rookie officer Jamie Alvarez couldn't sleep. She was 26, barely 2 years into the force, and this was the first real case she'd worked. Something about Emily's disappearance gnawed at her. It didn't make sense. No forced entry, no struggle, no screams. Someone had walked in, and Emily had never walked out. Jamie asked to go back through the camera footage herself. She sat alone in the evidence room at 1:12 a.m., headphones on, eyes locked on the grainy video playback from the Callahan's porch across the street. At first, there was nothing. Just a flicker of streetlight, the sound of sprinklers, an occasional car. She fast-forwarded through hours of darkness. Then, 3:17 a.m., October 14th, movement, a shadow, a figure. Jamie froze the frame and slowly rewound. There, at the edge of the screen, a person moved swiftly across the sidewalk, cutting through the moonlight with unnerving purpose. They weren't running. They weren't stumbling. They walked like someone who knew exactly where they were going. Dark hoodie, gloves, a duffel bag, scrubs, hospital scrubs. Jamie's heart began to race. The footage wasn't perfect, too far, too dark, but it was enough. The timestamp placed the figure less than 200 feet from Emily's home, less than 2 hours after her estimated bedtime. Jamie called in the senior detective at 3:43 a.m. By 8 a.m., the footage had been enhanced, stabilized, and printed into stills. The town's quiet theories were about to be ignited. This wasn't a random act. It wasn't a drifter or someone passing through. This was someone who knew her, someone who had access. All eyes returned to the hospital. Tara Whitman's name was already on the watch list. Her personnel file had several red flags, none criminal but enough to raise eyebrows. She'd been suspended 3 weeks prior for a confidential internal matter. The hospital wouldn't say what it was, but whispers among the nurses said it had something to do with missing medication. When Tara was brought in for questioning, she was composed. Too composed. Her hair was perfectly tied back, no bags under her eyes, no tremble in her voice. "Emily and I had a misunderstanding, that's all. We sorted it out." But detectives weren't interested in her tone. They were watching her hands still, her pupils dilated, her answers practiced. "Where were you the night of October 13th into the morning of the 14th? "At home, alone, watching a movie." "What movie?" "I don't remember. I had wine. I was tired." "Anyone who can confirm that?" Silence. She looked down, then back up. Number just me. The investigation accelerated. Background checks, phone pings, credit card usage. Tara had used her hospital badge after hours once before, on September 29th, to enter the storage room after her shift. Nothing had been reported stolen, but it was enough to get a warrant. Detectives began pulling emails, internal hospital reports, badge access logs. Then came the second discovery. Emily had filed an anonymous complaint 6 months earlier. It reported suspicious narcotics inventory inconsistencies during Tara's shifts. While the name wasn't signed, IT logs showed the report was submitted under Emily's login. The hospital had been conducting a quiet audit since July, and Emily was scheduled to testify before the board on October 16th, 2 days after she vanished. That changed everything. This wasn't just jealousy. It wasn't just workplace tension. It was motive. Tara had everything to lose. Her job, her license, her reputation, years of training and salary. A single testimony could collapse her entire future. Then came the break no one expected. A city sanitation worker in Clearwater, 12 miles away, reported something strange during a routine pickup near a rarely used construction site. Buried beneath pizza boxes and drywall scraps, a set of scrubs. Dark blue, faint bloodstains, stuffed inside a zipped duffel bag with a half-used hospital glove box and a broken ID badge. The ID had no name, but under forensic UV, a partial print lifted from the inside cuff came back with 2 hits. The room went silent when the lab results came in. No one cheered. No one cursed. It was as if the entire station had collectively exhaled the breath they'd been holding for 5 days. Sheriff Halpern closed his eyes and whispered, "Bring her in." When Tara was arrested, she didn't resist. She didn't speak. Not until the cuffs were on and the Miranda rights had been read. Then quietly, almost like it wasn't meant to be heard, she said she forgave me. The officers exchanged looks. "What do you mean?" Tara looked down at her hands. "We talked. That night. She said she wasn't going to testify. She said she wanted to move on. But you still went into her house." Tara's voice was barely audible. "She made tea. I didn't mean to. It just got loud. She was yelling. I panicked. It wasn't supposed to be like that. She was supposed to testify, but now she's gone. And no one knows where her body is. Despite the DNA, the video footage, and the near confession, one thing haunted the investigation. There was no body. Emily Grant, daughter, nurse, friend, had simply vanished. And even with Tara Whitman behind bars, the town of Willow Creek could not rest. Closure, they said, required a body, a goodbye, a place to bury the pain. But there was none. Sheriff Halpern paced in his office the night after Tara's arrest. Rain tapped against the windows in slow, rhythmic patterns. He stared at the whiteboard of evidence. The timeline, the prints, the scrub shirt, the texts. It all added up, and yet it didn't. Because Tara never explained one thing, what she did with Emily. Tara sat in the small gray room with a single flickering bulb above her head. She hadn't cried. She hadn't begged. She barely spoke. The arresting officer described her as hollow, like someone running on fumes. Detective Serena Jacks leaned in, voice low and steady. "You said you panicked. You said it wasn't supposed to go that far. So where is she, Tara?" Tara's eyes were glassy. She shook her head. "I didn't want her to die." Serena waited. Silence. "She hit her head," Tara whispered. "On the corner of the kitchen table. I didn't mean to. She slipped." And then, Tara hesitated. "I left." "You left her bleeding in her kitchen?" "I thought maybe she'd wake up. I thought she'd be okay." "Then why did you come back at 3 a.m. wearing gloves and scrubs?" Tara looked down at her hands. Serena pressed. "You didn't just panic, Tara. You cleaned up. You planned." Another long silence. She was going to ruin everything, Tara murmured, all because of one report. She smiled at me in the hallway like nothing had changed, like she was better than me. Serena gritted her teeth. Where is Emily? Tara's lips parted. A sound came out, choked, raw, not quite words. But what she said next froze Serena in place. I buried her, but when I went back, she was gone. It sounded like a lie, a story, a desperate ploy for confusion. But the coordinates Tara gave led them to a shallow clearing near Bears Hollow, a rarely used area behind an abandoned ranger's outpost. Canines were dispatched, cadaver dogs, 3 of them, and within minutes they alerted. Ground-penetrating radar revealed the soil had been disturbed. The scent of decomposition was confirmed, and yet there was no body. What they did find were blood traces soaked into the earth. Human hair, dark brown. A single earring matching one seen in Emily's last Instagram photo. And a set of plastic zip ties still bundled together. No bones, no clothes, no remains. It was as if the ground had opened up and swallowed her. By this point, the media had latched on. The Daily Independent ran a headline, Angel Nurse or Secret Life? The Disappearance of Emily Grant. The true crime circuit lit up. Podcasts ran with wild theories. Reddit threads exploded with timelines and maps. Some believed Tara had help. Others insisted the married firefighter Logan Myers had returned later and removed the body to protect his name. A few speculated Emily had faked her death and fled. One user wrote she wanted out. Clean record, no kids, secret life online. Maybe she planned this. Paige, Emily's best friend, couldn't take it. She shut down her social accounts and stopped answering the door. The idea that Emily would willingly disappear, it was unthinkable. She was gentle but strong, Paige said in an exclusive interview. She wouldn't just walk away. She would never hurt her parents like that. In late November, a new piece of evidence surfaced. Emily's landlord found a small hardcover journal behind the radiator in her bedroom while replacing a vent filter. He turned it in. Inside were entries written in soft blue ink. Most were mundane, notes about patients, recipes, little sketches of wildflowers. But near the end, the tone changed. One entry read, "Sometimes I feel like I'm being watched at work, like someone's always waiting for me to mess up." Tara snapped at me again. I'm afraid she knows. Another, I should have kept my mouth shut. But it was wrong. I had to say something. And the last one, I think she's been in my house. Things feel moved. With the journal and soil evidence, the prosecution painted a chilling picture. Emily had reported Tara's drug theft. Tara, suspended and soon to be exposed, confronted her the night before the hearing. Whether Emily was lured or surprised, something violent happened. Tara claimed it was an accident, but evidence of gloves, zip ties, and the cleanup kit said otherwise. In court, the district attorney's closing argument was simple. She was silenced because she told the truth. In May 2021, after 4 weeks of trial, Tara Whitman was convicted of second-degree murder. She showed no reaction as the verdict was read. No tears. No collapse, just a cold stare ahead. She was sentenced to 28 years. The judge stated, "This court believes you are responsible not only for her death, but for the pain and confusion that followed." Emily's body was never recovered. The case was closed. But the town of Willow Creek, it was never the same. Willow Creek used to be the kind of town where people left their keys in the ignition during winter, where everyone showed up to Sunday brunch at Dixie's Diner and nodded politely during town hall meetings. But after Emily vanished, the town changed. Not all at once. Slowly, quietly, like a body adjusting to shock. The windows had more locks now. Parents watched their children a little more closely. And when a stranger passed through town, folks paid attention. Real attention. The kind that lingered just long enough to say, "We remember what happened here." Even the trees seemed quieter. The memorial garden. In late 2021, hospital staff and local volunteers broke ground on a small memorial garden just outside Willow Creek General. They planted 33 white lilies, one for every year of Emily's life. In the center stood a marble bench with her name engraved beneath a brass plaque. She healed others, but no one knew she needed protection too. It wasn't much, but for those who loved her, it was something. Paige came every Thursday. Sometimes she brought tea, sometimes flowers. Most times she sat in silence, eyes fixed on the wind as if waiting for Emily to return. She was light, Paige said once during a local radio interview. And the worst thing about light is how deeply you notice when it's gone. Even with Tara Whitman locked away, whispers still floated through Willow Creek. What if she didn't act alone? What if Emily's body was moved twice? What if Logan came back after the fact? Detective Serena Jacks, who led the investigation, wasn't immune to doubt either. She kept a file marked open in her desk drawer even after the conviction. Inside it were three things: a flash drive of the original doorbell camera footage, a handwritten letter from Emily's mother, a single sticky note that read, "Don't forget, motive is not truth." Logan Myers' shadow. Though cleared by investigators, Logan Myers' reputation never recovered. His house was egged twice. His children teased at school. His wife filed for separation within 6 months. And then he vanished. In early 2022, Logan sold his property, quit the fire department, and moved out of state. No forwarding address, no goodbye, just silence. Some believed he left out of shame. Others believed he knew more than he ever admitted. One rumor suggested he'd been blackmailed, another that he paid someone to clean up Tara's mess, but no evidence ever supported either. Still, whenever someone mentioned his name at the Willow Creek bar, the whole room went quiet. In August 2022, nearly 3 years after Emily's disappearance, a groundskeeper at Bears Hollow discovered something buried just under the roots of a pine tree. An envelope. Water damaged, warped at the corners, sealed with tape. Inside were three things: a USB stick, a faded photo of Emily in scrubs taken inside a hospital supply room, a sticky note with just 2 words: "I lied." The USB held only one file, a 14-second video clip. It was shaky, vertical, likely recorded on a phone. The camera was pointed toward a hospital corridor at night. Empty, fluorescent lights flickering. Then from the corner a figure emerged. It was Emily. She looked distressed. She was speaking, but there was no audio. Behind her, just barely in frame, another figure appeared, shadowed, obscured. Emily turned, startled. The figure reached for her. The video cut off. Forensics confirmed the clip had been recorded in the hospital basement storage wing, an area without cameras. The timestamp, October 13th, 2019, 11:49 p.m. The discovery of the envelope reignited interest in the case. Media stormed back in. New experts were brought on. Prosecutors insisted the evidence didn't contradict the original case. It only strengthened it. But not everyone agreed. Former officer Jamie Alvarez, now a detective, had her doubts. "This wasn't random," she said in an interview. "That clip didn't come from Tara. She was already suspended by then. She didn't have basement access." That fact prompted a stunning revelation. Tara's badge was deactivated on October 10th. Someone else had let her in, or someone else had been down there that night. A second audit of hospital security logs, overlooked the first time, revealed that an unknown badge ID had been scanned at the basement door on October 13th, just minutes before Emily was seen on video. The ID didn't match any employee. It was either cloned or issued off record. Further investigation uncovered a disturbing possibility. Someone inside the hospital had tampered with the internal system. A network admin had left the hospital in early 2020 after claiming burnout. His laptop was never recovered, but a backup copy of access records had been stored on the hospital's cloud and reviewed only recently. On that backup, log showed a login pattern consistent with badge forgery. And guess who had asked the admin to help cover an inventory glitch 2 months earlier? Tara Whitman. The evidence now suggested Tara may not have acted alone. She might have initiated the confrontation. She might have even caused the injury. But the cleanup? The cover-up? The missing body? Someone else might have helped finish what she started. But who? That question hung like smoke over Willow Creek. Tara was re-interviewed in late 2022. She denied any accomplices. They're trying to pin someone else to this now, she laughed bitterly. I'm already paying the price, just let it rot. The DA considered new charges, but without a name or clear link, nothing stuck. Emily's case officially remained closed. Unofficially, the town never stopped asking. He said he loved her. He said it was over. He said he didn't know anything. But in part 2 of She Was Going to Testify, but She Never Made It to Morning, we uncover what Logan Myers took with him when he fled town, and why a late-night voicemail could unravel everything we thought we knew. Because sometimes it's not the killer who hides the truth. It's the one who walked away. Tap the notification bell and subscribe, because the darkest part of this story is just beginning.